Think about your favorite kind of music, whether it's Beethoven or Beyonce, and whether you've noticed or not, music is steeped in the politics of its day. In Taiwan, that relationship is particularly vibrant, with heavy metal legislators and election rallies resembling rock concerts. And that means here and elsewhere, music's not just a mirror held up to power, it's also a tool used by the powerful. In this episode of Gen Taiwan, we hear from the musicians composing the soundtrack to Taiwan's political story.
In Taiwan today, music is the beat of a political awakening. The sound of resistance, of identity, and of a generation refusing to be silenced.
我是台湾人，它代表的意义太大了。
As tensions escalate between China and Taiwan, the small island nation is fighting to assert its independence, and a new wave of Taiwanese identity is emerging.
There have been more artists with the same vision of Taiwanese identity. Also, more artists dare to speak out.
对我来说，这是台湾人。台湾这个字就是台湾人内心的骄傲。我是台湾人，我骄傲。对。
Despite the political atmosphere, many Taiwanese artists are choosing to tap into China's vast market, only to face a fierce backlash back home.
The amount of money Taiwanese artists were able to make in China was far and away beyond what they could make in Taiwan.
In this cultural awakening, Taiwan is not only reckoning with forces from abroad, but also confronting its own troubled past.
他就是自焚，他为了台湾100%的言论自由。
As Taiwan faces a stormy future, ideological divides run deep.
If you take like a pro-China line, people are going to hate you. Online and social media, there are going to be backlashes.
This outpouring of creativity is shaping Taiwanese society now more than ever.
就不会觉得政治这一块是一个禁忌，讲出自己想要表达的对议题的意见。
Dwagi isn't just a hip-hop artist. Through his music, he celebrates his homeland and challenges oppression.
通常是大家会问说你是哪里嘛？我觉得这就是我的出身嘛，我来自的地方嘛，然后我的背景嘛，然后我代表的国家嘛。那很多人可能如果会问说我是台湾人，可能是在国外的时候啊，他说你是中国人啊，没有，我是台湾人。
Dwagi pulls from a diverse range of influences to reflect on daily life in Taiwan.
我觉得其实很多时候启发我的不是艺术家，可能是政治家，可能是一些历史人物。譬如说，我写这个郑南榕的故事，他就是自焚，他为了台湾100%的言论自由，然后他就是自杀，用那个自焚。他一开始的时候在台湾唱老舍的没有很多。先到达赖喇嘛帮我拍 MV 加时，下次我还会找来 Nas。哈，你又开始不信。其实我是听 Nas， 然后听 Jay-Z， 然后听 Snoop Dogg， 就是这些90年代的这些饶舌歌手。我一个很大的动力，就觉得说哇，那我要做这种音乐，我想要唱一些就是很有意义的事情。大家围绕他尖叫追问成功，靠杀诀窍，一路打击话语总是冲刺，就算勇士也变疯子，但他还是没回答，原来他是聋子。
Dwagi is no stranger to speaking his mind. He was a vocal critic of the Taiwanese government in the past, but today, he has a new target in his sights.
我最主要的理念就是要抵抗中国的这个暴力威胁也好啊，然后这些新的这些资讯战也好，我觉得台湾人应该要有这种民族意识。像我之前有写一首歌在讲香港的雨伞革命那个，然后就我超屌，我是手机收到讯息耶，说什么要对我的家人怎么样。我很肯定是中国，因为他们写的那个字是简体字，然后包含他们的那种用法，对字的用法，我觉得我不会怕。我觉得第一个很大的区别就是民主跟自由。那第二个就是我以一个音乐人的身份来说了哈，就是说台湾的民主跟自由，就是让台湾我们没有不能出版的音乐，我们没有不能探讨的议题，我们也没有什么不能被禁的书。
But Taiwan's relationship between its art scene and the government has been complicated. During the lengthy martial law period from 1949 to 1987, any cultural expression not sanctioned by the Kuomintang government faced strict censorship. After the lifting of martial law in 1987 and the overthrow of the Kuomintang government, Taiwan embarked on a new era of democratization, allowing the art scene to experience unprecedented freedom and growth.
The DPP finally took over the government. They were very, very pro-Taiwan identity, and most media would define them as leaning toward Taiwan independence. So they were able to direct a lot of government funds toward promoting Taiwan identity, culture creations, culture events, and so on.
David Fraser is a music journalist and historian who watched the Taiwanese music scene blossom in the 90s to noughts.
When you went to those shows, like there was politics on stage. I remember one of those shows, like somebody burned a Chinese flag. You had people like sloganeering and screaming out like China from the stage. But for artists who are hardcore at the center of the Taiwan identity movement in music, Chthonic, the heavy metal band, was definitely one of them. The organizer of that was Freddie Lim, who went on to become elected to the legislature. So that clique of people is still like very, very important in the music scene. When the elections came up, it's like, and you would hear their music all the time as sort of like anthems.
Bands like Chthonic and its death metal frontman turned politician, Freddie Lim, use personal and politically charged lyrics to bring Taiwanese politics to wider audiences.
This is the Liberty Square that we had the major campaign event back in 2015. 这其实是有点2合1的活动，等于闪灵也宣告，在我选上立委以后就会比较低度运作了，所以办一场大的演唱会，让歌迷可以开心。我记得弄得非常的稀花，我出现的时候好像是从这里出现的，然后它有一个把门打开的声音，然后全部的人不知道我会从这里面出现，然后再从这里面走进去。在自由广场外面表演，感觉是还蛮有意义的，因为转型正义，或是说对台湾的这些独裁历史的反省啊，这些都一直是我们音乐里面，而且在自由广场前面也发生过很多运动。那反对里面的那一个独裁者的这个运动都在这里发生。My supporters love it because we never have that kind of heavy metal campaign during our political history.
Like many of Taiwan's youth, Freddie Lim was galvanized by the 2014 Sunflower Movement. This protest surged in response to concerns about the lack of transparency in a trade agreement with China, perceived by many as a capitulation by the then-ruling KMT.
凯达格兰大道大概是台湾所有重要的政治运动、社会运动最后集结的地点，包括太阳花运动，2014年的时候，最后所有的学生也是聚集在这边。那一天大概是5万多人吧。
Motivated by these events, Freddie co-founded the New Power Party and entered the political scene. And in 2016, the ruling KMT faced significant setbacks in the elections and lost power.
In the early years of the band, I would share my point of views about politics on internet. So my fans were like, let's talk about music, not talk about politics too much. But later on, our fans always more extreme or always more in action than me. Back in Sunflower movement, all my fans text me that, where are you? We are just outside of the parliament. Let's occupy the parliament, let's do some action. And when I joined the movement, I can hear that they play our music outside of the parliament. So I think not just phonic, but Taiwanese music take a lot of young people's feelings about the country out and try to put in action. So after Sunflower movement, there have been more artists with the same vision of Taiwanese identity, and also more artists dare to speak out. You have to support those artists who share the same vision with you.
Chthonics' music and message have reached beyond Taiwan. Their songs were anthems in Hong Kong's 2019 to 2020 pro-democracy protests, highlighting the band's alignment with other popular movements opposing China. But their music is also a protest against Taiwan's own authoritarian history.
Chiang Kai-shek is still in the memorial hall there, the biggest statue of the tyrant. That's why we have to remove the dictator statue out. We have so many information in this memorial hall to explain how he oppressed Taiwanese democracy and identity. I think it's not right.
Chiang Kai-shek modernized Taiwan with land reforms and industrialization. Yet his authoritarianism, marked by martial law and the 228 massacre, casts a long shadow, making his legacy both revered and contested today.
It always reminds us that there are still a lot of things to do in the future. We are just in a journey to become a better country. It's not just about the political debates daily. It's not about just the conflicts between Taiwan and China. If you read the lyrics, share the anger, share the strong emotion, share the sadness and the happiness of Taiwanese, the music can guide you, direct you to be braver, to be stronger, to not be afraid, and to stand with us.
Today, many artists in Taiwan find themselves treading a delicate line in the tug-of-war between independence from China or allegiance.
In China, you can go tour in stadiums of 80,000 people and do multiple shows around the country.
Taiwanese artists have been seen to self-censor due to Chinese pressure.
对不起，本应该早些出来道歉。
But subsequently face a backlash from local Taiwanese fans who start online campaigns to cancel their music and boycott their shows.
Now that China is like threatening Taiwan with military aircraft every single day, if you take like a pro-China line, people are going to hate you online, in social media, in the media, everything. There are going to be backlashes. It's extremely hard for Taiwanese musicians to make overt political statements about the China-Taiwan situation. Because if they do, they could be banned from China and they could cut off a huge source of their income. The Taiwan musicians, they're not politicians. They're artists. They want to sing love songs and become fashion emblems and get rich. Taiwan is a democracy, but it's a tolerant democracy. There are a broad spectrum of views, and artists fall all, in those various political spectrums.
Hopeful and uncertain at the same time, the Taiwanese music scene is thriving now more than ever, echoing the spirit of the people who call this island home.
After 10 years, I'm almost 50. I will step down next year. I will not run for my third term. I'm not the younger generation anymore. It's more about helping the younger generations right now and to fight for a better future together.
台湾是越来越进步，越来越民主，然后越来越可以讲出自己想要讲，用音乐讲出自己想要表达的对议题的意见。我觉得其实还是就是用作品说话，因为每首歌都是自己的小孩， 然后每首歌都有他想传递的讯息，真的都是像我的小孩子，我都给他们一样的爱，我的爱啊，我的恨啊，我的灵魂啊，我都全部投注进去。希望用饶舌去传递讯息，就是不只给粉丝看，也可以给全世界听到说，哎，我们台湾人的声音是什么。
To discuss that episode, we're here at the Bob One Day Music Bar, famous in Taipei for its open mic nights. And we're joined by our three guests who span the spectrum of musical genres. We have Joseph Liu Chao, who comes from the world of hip hop. We have Taipei-based Zoe Ye, who's a longtime drummer and singer. And we also have queer DJ and sound artist Xie Heming. Now, the first question I want to ask you all is, you all come from very different musical backgrounds and very different musical genres. What for you defines Taiwan's musical scene?
Festival-wise, it's very vibrant. There's every month there are all these different festivals for people to go to. But in terms of like the city, like the venue, live venue, it's a little bit limited for me somehow. And then, for example, like Bob One Day, it's like one of the main venue for rock musician to play, and which is kind of sad. It's closing. Yeah.
So there are not so many people who are doing electronic music in Taiwan. But I think nowadays, when electronic musicians they make electronic music, they try to use a lot of field recording. That means they record like daily life sounds in Taiwan, and they use it as like a sample and use it into the music. So I think that's a very interesting part about electronic music in Taiwan.
So I'm a student. I'm from the hip hop club. So it's harder for us to rent a place for us to perform because they'll charge a very high fee. If I really want to keep doing the music, I have to get very popular. And the audiences now in Taiwan, they don't really like the hip hop thing. They're more into the pop things.
And how would you define what popular music is in Taiwan?
It's easily to get into like wine, like whiny.
Whiny, oh no.
Oh, I love you so much. Why don't you love me?
Right.
Blah blah blah. The kind of genre. Yeah. In a way.
I think the pop music right now is also very different from the pop music maybe like 20 years ago. It changed a lot. And like in the 90s, actually there are more like pop divas. They are doing like house music, disco or something. And nowadays, like, I think more or less the musicians were like influenced by a lot of like K-pop, J-pop, and like a global music scene. So it's like kind of like a mixture of everything.
And in the music that you all produce yourselves and the music you make yourselves, what would you say that music is Taiwanese? Do you think it has a Taiwanese quality to it? And if so, how do you define that Taiwanese quality to the music that you produce?
My music is more like a mix because I more listen to some Western raps more. I listen to Western raps more than the Taiwanese raps. So I like to say it's a mixed. But I'm grow up in the Taiwanese culture, so I write in Chinese lyrics and have my own spirit because hip hop is about where you come from. You have to tell others I represent where. So yes, I think I do have the Taiwanese spirit, something like that. Yeah.
I grew up with listening to like Western music or like Britpop, or American indie music. So I feel like the music I make, the rhythm-wise, it would be more like, I would say maybe Western, more Westernized. But I mean, of course, the lyrics I write about, it's about the daily life I encounter and like the places that I travel to, like, yeah. So I would say, yeah, it's like a perfect balance between West and East. Yes. Yeah.
What do you reckon?
As a DJ, what I'm also trying to do is like, for the whole set, I try to put in some Chinese song, like remix on Chinese song. I mean, like just like I mentioned, I also love a lot of sounds from 90s diva like Li Wen, Xiao Yaxuan. I try to put those sounds into my set, but I'm still wondering if it sounds Taiwanese enough. Because I was actually invited to play in China like 3 months ago, and I really struggled to prepare my set because I was like wondering if I should put something really Taiwanese into it. Just a slight touch, but it's really, really difficult for electronic music to do that.
Did you end up putting the song in the end?
No.
What was behind that decision in the end then?
Because I was invited to play in Beijing, which is really like, okay. Yeah. Just like, oh, okay, so maybe I will just skip that. No, I mean like, it's really difficult for electronic music to really arrange that. Yeah.
And do you think there's anything political about the music that you produce?
Well, like I wrote a song called Resembling, but different, like years ago, and then we still play it now. And yeah, it's about Taiwan and China. I mean, when you travel abroad, like people ask you, oh, you're from China? Like, no, same, but different. I mean, we are a country. Yeah, and I feel that's one of my song that's more very, political one.
My club, we made a cipher because making cipher for Taiwanese university is a very common thing. And in the second part, we sampled Beyond, a very famous band in Hong Kong called Beyond, and his song is called Haikou Tenkong. We sampled the electronic guitar because at that time, the Hong Kong was protesting all the time, and we saw that all on the newspaper. And in the music video, we put on a lot of no music posters on the wall to convey that, to support the Hong Kong, because it's not only music, it's about your talk, it's about freedom of speech. We have to fight for everything.
I want to play devil's advocate for a second. I think Freddie Lim mentioned one of a point similar to this in the video, but shouldn't we keep politics out of music? Isn't it nice to go and see some musical event where you don't have to think about politics, where you can escape from politics? And maybe in Taiwan, is it even possible to do that?
I think like we should have more like political songs in our like music things in general. We have like the freedom of speech, and then we should have more of this kind of songs. And I actually really admire, when I watch the video, I really admire like what Freddie Ling and also Rocky, you actually convey all this message in his song. I really admire what they do.
So actually, the ideal would be having more kind of mainstream musicians who are more politically sensitive and aware of things that are going on.
Yeah, but like what we earlier talked about, like, yeah, it's probably, if you want to tour in China, it's probably not gonna happen.
There's always some interaction. I mean, in terms of politics, it can, because I can also speak for probably like the LGBTQ community, is that, so we passed like the, equal rights and everything, but I think musically, I did not really find a lot of musicians responding to that, or I think especially in hip hop and rock music scene.
All of you at some point have mentioned the idea of Taiwan's freedom of speech and its democracy in some way impacting the type of music that you're able to create. What aspects of Taiwanese society and Taiwan's politics do you think have allowed you to express yourself in the music that you create?
I mean, I relate this to actually live performances. I think the live performances are probably very different if you compare Taiwan and China, because in Taiwan, when you're on stage, except for music, you can do a lot of more kind of like protest expression, or like you can burn a flag, or you can really you can do a lot of things live on stage, which is related to the music, but the whole thing is like a really complete political message. But I don't think it's happening in a country like China.
I think here definitely you can say whatever you want to say. So yeah, and you don't really have to worry about, for example, I definitely wouldn't play that same but different songs in China, right? Yeah.
Given the threat that China poses to Taiwan, do you personally think Taiwanese artists should go and do that? Do you think there's a degree in which that is a problematic route to choose?
There's a rapper in a video called Ducky, right? But at first, like many years ago, he was with a rapper called MC Hot Dog, and he's making millions, billions dollars in China now. But in compares to Ducky, Ducky is just sticking Taiwan's audiences. For that part, I think MC Hot Dog has his own spirit, I think, but it's not about politics. It's about his own struggling. He's where he's from. He's from Taiwan, and he says that he's from Taiwan.
I feel like it's personal choice, and yeah, and like earlier what Joseph say, like you don't want to pursue like music career because it's kind of hard. Like I mean, you know, a lot of musicians here like they have their day job, just like me. I have my day job, and then like use my day job to kind of like support what I want to do, like yeah, musically. So that's it. I mean, if a band or like an artist, they want to like grow into a certain level, I feel, I mean, I'm not, that's a personal choice. They probably, China is definitely like a big market for them to go.
And if I'm being like an idealist, then I would say if the musician go to China and they also meet other talents in China and they collaborate, then there could be something really interesting. So like you said, it's a personal choice, but maybe it will end up like something, I don't know, something unique. Yeah.
Thank you so much to our panelists for sharing your thoughts of this open mic discussion. It's been a really great conversation. And thank you to our audience. We'll see you for the next episode of Gen Taiwan, where we delve into another topic with a great set of panelists. We'll see you next time.